one time Warrington was a thriving steel town, wire industry. At the end of the working week, they didn't have much money. What entertainment was there?
It is the talking point within the town. I think that has been one of the beauties of this game.
The atmosphere at Warrington was second to none.
Massive crowds who absolutely adore rugby league for what it is. It was a political statement that started this as a sport. It's a working class game full of working class heroes, and it's it ticks a few boxes, that.
I think Warrington Rugby League Club, it's in most people's hearts really.
Rugby league very often is the town.
And everybody in the town identified with all these players, and we love the players. But don't forget they worked in the town then. Bevan was walking around town selling insurance or something like that. They all had different jobs. It was, that's how it was, and that's how they identified with them.
You didn't notice, but it's just part and parcel of life, isn't it? I've worked Saturday mornings when I was playing for Warrington and Wigan. I've played St Helens in the afternoon.
But you weren't a supervisor, so you weren't physically...
I had to go in though.
Yes, it was physically.
No, not physical, no. But you had some of these lads coming up from the mines, you see. See, Jackie Edwards came up from the mines when he was playing,
Bob Dagnall was a self-employed joiner, carrying wood over his head, climbing up chimneys, doing all this lot. Cliff Watson was a drayman, delivering beer in the old-fashioned wooden barrels. He could carry one over his head. Dakota was a miner. Vince Cornelius was scrap metal merchant. He was lifting scrap metal all day. So these people didn't need to do weights. It was a physical life. They were doing weights every day of their life.
But it was a working man's sport. Even if we got beat on a Sunday, we'd have to get here or to work at 7 o'clock on Monday morning. You'd be battered, be bruised, and people would have the papers waiting for you to see whether you'd had a good game or a bad game.
We played on a Saturday for win, lose or draw money, and that makes a difference to you. Some of the lads having a day off on Monday, if they won, they could have Monday off, but they needed the money and they had a family. It was hard.
You'd probably get him 2 or 3 times the average man's working wage to win a game of rugby league, and you got nothing if you lost it, and you've got one man in front of you that's going to take it off you. The whole psychology of the sport was very, very different.
I was a teacher, full-time teacher all the time I played rugby league. No, on a Monday morning I would go in school, and if I'd had a bad game, then the 11-year-olds at the front of the class would let me know. Or a sixth former would say, "What did you drop that ball for, sir? You knocked on. Why didn't you go for that? Or why didn't you do that?" Plenty of detentions were ditched out Monday morning. 9 till 12 is Saints or winners had lost.
I still took my kids to school every day, win, lose or draw, on a Monday morning. I'd be there, and the Warrington lads would be halfway around one of the supermarkets, and one of the speckies would be ramming a trolley in your ankle. That's all you need after being bashed by Wigan or somebody on a Sunday.
I know you can earn quite a bit of money in the game, but essentially you don't play it for that. You play it for the love of the game, for the mateship.
I don't know whether I should say this. It was part-time professionals. I'd have played for nothing. Getting paid was the icing on the cake.
You'd go with your father, and you'd watch the game with your mates, and you'd go home afterwards, and that was an integral part of my youth.
And you could hardly get in, unless you climbed over the fence like we did when we were youngsters.
There was a bloke who used to stand on the corner of Bridgefoot selling programmes. And we used to always buy a programme off him. We got into the dressing room, the programmes were there. But it was hell of a nice to he got programme.
Wildersborough was it was like Nosey Road. It was an old-fashioned ground where the crowd were right on top of you.
There used to be queues, 3 or 4 deep, right down Fletcher Street.
They would have ringside seats. They would put chairs out all around the perimeter. So in actual fact, very often, if you tackled anybody or you were tackled, you could end up flying underneath those chairs, and they'd go up in the air, the crowd would come on top of you, and you really were in there. Middlesbrough, you came out from underneath that tunnel. It was almost like coming out of the Coliseum.
Could have shot Gladiator every other week here at Middlesbrough without all the extras and the film stars. It was a rough, tough game.
The place was oppressive, the players were, the attitude was, the venue was, that long brown brick wall of the nightclub on the other side. It wasn't like most sporting venues. It wasn't welcoming at all, and we set about with a purpose to make sure that if there was little bits of that, well, we were going to make that our stamp. That's what we were going to be remembered for.
And then we had the great Brian Bevan, didn't we, at that time?
I remember as a young kid leaning on the wall at Knowsley Road when Saints were playing Warrington, and you were frightened of Bevan getting the ball. You really were. You didn't want Bevan to get the ball because he was a rugby freak.
The chairman at Warrington, his wife said, "What have you bought somebody like that for?" Because he did look quite old, didn't he? You know what I mean?
To see the man, you would never have expected that he played rugby league, no question of it.
He was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
We never knew what he was going to do, because I've seen him run 40, 50 yards back and come through and score. So what can you do with a bloke like that? Jimmy Tower sent it to him, and he said, I'd sooner do all this tackling if he's got a yard to work in and I give him the ball, it'll be a try. It'll be bonuses for us, you see. He said, I'll do all this tackling. And Jimmy had to do it,
He really wanted to score. That was his life. That was his life's mission, scoring tries, and that was all he wanted to do.
He was a one-off. I don't think there'll be anybody that could do what he did.
Six tackle coming up. Murphy will have a drop, and Murphy will kick it, and he jumps for joy.
And I watched them play, I think it was Huddersfield, and I think they beat them about 58-6 at home. And the two directors and the other directors, there was apples, bottles, bricks going into the stand, what a load of rubbish, get rid of them, they're a load of, whatever. And I thought, do I really want to come here? So I just said to Mr. Davis, I want to be in full control of rugby. Signing, selling, discipline, training, the lot. Totally rebuilding a side, and I mean rebuilding a side, and giving Warrington some pride back.
Alec went to St Austin School, I'm at Grange Park. When his mum used to do the washing and hang it out in the entry, we used to go down Monday morning, see what size jeans and shirts he had outlined, and we used to take home and wear them for school. The way Alec treated the men who played for Warrington and who wanted to put that jersey on, I was proud to put that jersey on, what got them to Wembley. And Alec's persistence on training and the way he trained the men and the respect the players had for Alec. Genuine player, genuine talent. All right, he knew he had it, and it says on that photograph, the maestro. He was the maestro of rugby league.
Some people wanted
to relieve themselves on the way back. We lost the first game for 20 matches.
20 matches, yeah. We stopped the bus to
get
go
off.
To go to the toilet, a comfort stop. And the players got off, or numerous players got off, and Murphy said, leave him there. And he drove off. He was that annoyed.
Because we lost one game in the last 20.
That,
so they were all cowering on the side of the motorway in the pouring rain. That was typical of Murph.
That was Murph, yeah.
That was the way Murph operated. Yeah, he was alone to himself.
We were 10-0 down. It was on BBC on a Saturday afternoon. And really, we deserved to be 10-0 down against a great Saints side. And we've gone in, we're all sat down, and when that red vein came out in the top of Alex's head, you didn't look up type of thing. So, and Roy Lester was sat on the end, and he was actually sat in a sheepskin. And he said to him, Roy, if you don't effing buck up, you won't be playing next week. He said, Alec, I'm not playing this week.
So that was another time we all got sacked. With Alec, you sacked every week.
What Warrington did for me, they give me my pride back. They give me they let me do something I knew I could do.
It was in the mid-80s. Great Britain played Australia in a test match on Sydney Cricket Ground when we used to play the rugby on the cricket ground. Mike Gregory got on a ball, cut straight through down the middle of the Australian defence. He had Martin afire outside him. Martin screaming for the ball, but no, Mike didn't give it him. He went. I can just see the picture now. His sort of blonde hair blowing in the breeze. huge drive straight down the middle for this try, and I sort of had to call it all the way down to the try, and then the excitement of it after.
Mike Gregory turned up morning and night, weekends when he didn't have to, for extra training.
And Mike was the calming influence, the common sense approach.
He's another player who's got pace and who can run. Yes, but I think what we need now is Warrington to score a try here. Gregory, and there is a try!
True club captain. In Mike Gregory's eyes, we could have still won with 5 minutes to go, even though we were like 16, 20 points down, whatever it was. One of the nicest people I've ever come across in my life. He was hardcore, Mike, and that's the way to be. So I love Mike Gregory, and he was a great friend, and I miss him every day.